A warrior stands alone on a cliff, the wind howling as flames rise from his village. Below, his voice cuts through the night. They stole our homes, our families, our tomorrow, but they'll never break our spirit. Who will fight with me? 3 Native American chiefs from different tribes faced a world tearing itself apart. Their lands were taken, their people betrayed, yet they rose not just to survive, but to show what it means to lead with heart and wisdom. Can their courage light a path through the darkness? Stick with us to find out. Picture North America in the 1800s. Golden plains stretch under endless skies. Rivers carved through ancient forests and deserts glow under starlight. This land is alive, bursting with beauty, but it's also wounded. Settlers pour in hungry for land, clashing with native tribes who've called this home for centuries. Conflict scars the earth, and hope feels fragile. In this world, 3 leaders rise, each from a different tribe, each carrying a spark of something unbreakable. First, there's Swift Wind, chief of the Lenape in the lush Ohio Valley. His heart burns for unity to bring scattered tribes together. Then Iron Elk, a fearless warrior of the Lakota, roams the vast Great Plains. He fights to protect his people, wrestling with the pain of a broken past. And Star Raven, the spiritual guide of the Chiricahua Apache, leads her tribe through the harsh southwest deserts, her wisdom tied to the stars above. These chiefs face impossible odds. Armies march against them. Promises crumble and betrayal lurks close. But their stories aren't just about survival. They teach us what it means to fight for something bigger, something worth passing down. This is their world, and their battle is just beginning. Let's step into a world where the land breathes with stories of courage loss and unbreakable spirit. This is the tale of 3 Native American leaders, each rising from their tribe's heart to face a storm of change. Swift Wind of the Lenape, Iron Elk of the Lakota, and Star Raven of the Chiricahua Apache are not just names. They are flames in a darkening world. Their journeys begin in moments of pain and promise, where every choice could light a path or lead to ruin. Let's walk with them through forests, plains, and deserts to see how they become legends. We begin in the Ohio Valley, where the Lenape live in harmony with rivers that sing and forests that whisper ancient secrets. Swift Wind, a young hunter with a step as quiet as a deer's, knows every trail and tree like the lines of his own hand. His laugh is bright, his bow steady, and his heart tied to his people. One golden morning, he's deep in the woods tracking a stag. When a sharp scent stings his nose, smoke, his stomach twists as he sprints back, branches clawing at his arms. When he reaches his village, his worst fears come alive. Flames devour homes, blackening the woven roofs his mother once repaired. Settlers have struck their boots, trampling gardens, their shouts drowning out cries for mercy. Swift Wind stumbles through the wreckage, finding the charred remains of his family's lodge. His knees buckle and he clutches a singed bead from his sister's necklace, grief choking him like dust. Rage surges hot and wild, urging him to hunt the invaders. But then a soft hand touches his shoulder. It's Moonsong, his sister, a seer whose eyes seem to hold the stars. Her voice is calm but heavy. I see a vision. Brother, tribes united, strong as an oak's roots. But a traitor walks among us, a shadow that could break our hope. Her words pierce his anger, planting a new purpose. Swift Wind vows to bring the tribes together to forge an alliance that no army can shatter. He sets out crossing muddy streams and frost-kissed hills, seeking chiefs who've long warred with one another. At a council fire under a sky heavy with clouds, he faces their skeptical gazes. Some laugh at his youth, others turn away. But Swift Wind stands tall, his voice clear as a river. Our rivers flow to the same sea. If we stand alone, we fall alone. The words land like stones in still water, rippling through the crowd. A grizzled warrior nods, then another. Hands clasp, grudges soften, and the spark of unity catches fire. Yet Moonsong's warning lingers in Swift Wind's heart, a quiet fear that trust may be their weakness. Now, let's ride to the Great Plains, where the Lakota move like the wind across seas of grass. Iron Elk, a warrior whose name sends shivers through soldier camps, is a storm in human form. His braids dance as he gallops, spear gleaming, eyes sharp with defiance. The Lakota depend on their horses, swift and sacred, but soldiers steal them, cutting the tribe's lifeline. Iron Elk leads raids to take them back, striking at dawn when the enemy least expects it. His warriors follow him without question, for his courage is unmatched, but beneath his strength lies a wound that never heals. When he was a boy, settlers attacked his village. Iron Elk hid in the tall grass, watching as his father, a hunter, with a gentle smile, stood against the invaders. He raised a shield to protect the children, but swords fell, and his blood stained the earth. Iron Elk's screams were silent, trapped in his throat, and that day carved a scar on his soul. Now every raid is a strike against that memory, a way to make the pain mean something. But the more he fights, the emptier he feels, as if vengeance is a fire that burns him too. One chilly evening, his warriors ambush a small soldier camp, their hooves thundering like a storm. They capture a young man barely old enough to shave his eyes wide with terror. Iron Elk stands over him, the firelight casting shadows on his face. His warriors chant for justice, their voices hungry. Iron Elk grips his blade, the weight of his father's death pressing down like a stone. But as he looks at the boy, trembling and alone, he sees something else. A life not so different from his own, caught in a war neither chose. His hand shakes, and he lowers the blade. "Killing you won't bring my father back," he says, his voice low but firm. "Go and tell your people we are not shadows." The boy scrambles away, disappearing into the night. Some warriors mutter in anger, but others bow their heads, sensing a shift. Iron Elk turns to the stars, wondering if mercy might be a stronger weapon than hate. His fight is no longer just for horses, it's for a future his father would have wanted. Far to the south, in the Southwest's blazing deserts, Star Raven walks among the Chiricahua Apache. She's a healer, a mystic. Her presence as steady as the ancient cliffs. Her tribe once lived in valleys where streams danced and corn grew tall, but soldiers drove them out, forcing them into a wasteland of cracked earth and relentless sun. Hunger gnaws at their bellies, and despair whispers in the shadows. Yet Star Raven stands unbroken, her eyes reflecting the night sky. She gathers her people under a canopy of stars, her voice weaving hope like a thread through a loom. "The earth is our mother," she says, and her heartbeat never stops. She teaches them to listen to the desert's secrets, a faint breeze that leads to water, a cluster of thorns hiding edible roots. She points to the constellations, telling stories of ancestors who faced darkness and found light. Her words keep the tribe alive, not just in body, but in spirit. One searing afternoon, while searching for food, Star Raven hears a weak cry echoing from a canyon. She follows it, her sandals crunching on dry stone, and finds a child, no more than 6, crumpled in the dust. His clothes mark him as a member of a rival tribe, one that has raided Apache camps for years. Her warriors, their faces gaunt with hunger, urge her to leave him. He's their kin, not ours, they say, their voices bitter. But Star Raven kneels beside the boy, his breath shallow, his lips cracked like the earth around him. She trickles water from her pouch into his mouth, wraps him in her shawl, and lifts him into her arms. The journey to his tribe's camp is long, through lands where enemies lurk. Her warriors follow uneasy but loyal. When she reaches the rival camp, the chief, a man with scars like a map of war, steps forward, his hand on his knife. Star Raven sets the child down gently and says, "All children belong to the earth." The chief's eyes soften and his hand falls. He offers a truce, a fragile bridge between enemies. Star Raven's act spreads like a story, reminding all who hear it that kindness can mend what war breaks. Her wisdom becomes a star in the desert, guiding her people through the hardest days. These chiefs are as distinct as the lands they walk, yet they share a fire that no storm can extinguish. Swift Wind dreams of unity, weaving tribes into a single strength, like roots holding a riverbank firm. Iron Elk finds power in compassion, choosing to spare a life when vengeance would be easier. Star Raven sees the world through a sacred lens, tying her people to the earth's eternal pulse. Their struggles are their own, but their hearts beat for a shared hope, a world where their children can run free, where their stories endure. As their paths begin to converge, they'll face trials that test their courage and choices that could reshape their people's fate. What will it take for them to stand together, and can their wisdom outshine the gathering shadows? Their story is just beginning, and the road ahead holds answers worth chasing. The dream of unity is alive, but it's fragile, like a spark in a dry wind. Swift Wind, Iron Elk, and Star Raven have each carved their path through pain and hope, but now their stories weave together. The tribes they lead stand at a crossroads, facing enemies from without and doubts from within. As their alliance grows, so do the shadows that threaten to tear it apart. This is the moment where courage meets betrayal, and the heart of their fight is tested. Swift Wind's vision has taken root in the Ohio Valley. Around council fires, warriors from distant tribes gather, their faces lit by flickering flames. The Lenape chief moves among them, his voice steady, urging them to see beyond old grudges. He speaks of a future where their children can hunt and laugh without fear. His words pull rival leaders closer, and hands that once held weapons now clasp in agreement. The alliance swells, a tapestry of voices from forests and rivers. But not all hearts are open. Some warriors whisper doubts, their eyes darting to Swift Wind's youth. Why trust a hunter barely past his 20th summer? Tensions simmer and arguments flare under the stars. Swift Wind feels the weight of their stares, but he pushes forward, driven by Moonsong's vision of unity. Yet his sister's warnings haunt him. At night she sits by the fire, her gaze distant, speaking of a shadow moving closer. Betrayal waits. She murmurs, her fingers tracing patterns in the dirt. It wears a familiar face. Swift Wind brushes off fear, but unease settles in his chest. He wonders who among his allies might hide a knife behind their smile. The alliance holds, but it's a fragile thread, and he knows one wrong step could unravel everything. Across the Great Plains, Iron Elk rides to join Swift Wind's call. The Lakota warrior has heard of the young chief's dream, and it stirs something in him. His raids have won back horses, but they haven't healed the ache of his father's death. When he first meets Swift Wind, he's skeptical, sizing up the Lenape's lean frame. But Swift Wind's words, clear and fierce, spark a fire in Iron Elk's heart. This fight isn't just for one tribe. Swift Wind says, it's for all of us. Iron Elk pledges his spear, bringing his warriors to the alliance. His strength bolsters the group, but his temper is a storm waiting to break. At councils he clashes with others, his voice sharp when plans falter. One night, a Shawnee warrior questions his reckless raids, calling them a risk to peace. Iron Elk's eyes flash, and he slams his fist on the ground. You talk of peace while they steal our lives. The tent falls silent, and Swift Wind steps in his calm voice, easing the tension. Iron Elk storms off, kicking dust, frustrated by the slow pace of talk. He wants action, not words, and his impatience frays the alliance's edges. Yet deep down, he feels the pull of Swift Wind's vision, a chance to fight for something bigger than vengeance. He wrestles with his anger, unsure if he can tame it for the greater good. From the southwest deserts, Star Raven arrives, her Chiricahua Apache trailing behind like a quiet river. Her presence is a balm, her words soft but heavy with truth. She's seen her people suffer, driven from their lands into a wasteland where hope is as scarce as water. Yet she carries a light that no hardship can dim. When she joins the alliance, she brings not just warriors, but wisdom. At a council under a full moon, she stands her shawl, catching the silver light. War feeds war, she says, but understanding can break its cycle. She proposes a peace council with the settlers, a bold idea that makes warriors shift uneasily. Some scoff, saying the settlers' promises are as empty as dry wells. Iron Elk, still simmering from his earlier clash, shakes his head. They'll laugh at us, then strike. But Swift Wind listens, his eyes meeting Star Raven's. He sees a chance, however slim, to end the bloodshed. Star Raven's plan takes shape, a meeting on neutral ground, where tribes and settlers can speak as equals. She believes that if they show their humanity, some settlers might listen. Her faith in the earth's shared heartbeat guides her, but not all share her hope. As preparations begin, she senses the same shadow moon song spoke of a discord in the alliance's rhythm. She keeps her counsel, but her dreams are restless, filled with images of blood on sacred ground. The alliance grows stronger, but cracks form beneath the surface. Tribes work together, sharing food and plans, but old rivalries linger. A Cheyenne warrior bristles at a Lenape's command. A Lakota scout argues with a Shawnee over hunting grounds. Swift Wind moves tirelessly, smoothing disputes, while Star Raven offers quiet words to calm frayed nerves. Iron Elk trains warriors, his drills fierce but effective. Yet the shadow moon song foresaw draws closer. Unknown to the chiefs, a Lenape warrior named Black Fox harbors a secret. He's one of Swift Wind's trusted men, his smile easy, his laughter warm. But in the dead of night, he slips away to meet settlers, his heart heavy with fear for his family. The settlers offer gold and safety for his kin if he betrays the alliance. Black Fox hesitates, torn between loyalty and survival, but desperation wins. He agrees to sabotage the peace council, promising the settlers a chance to strike. His betrayal is a slow poison seeping into the alliance's hopes. The day of the peace council arrives, a tense gathering on a wide plain. Tribal banners flutter beside settler flags, and the air hums with possibility. Swift Wind speaks first, his voice carrying over the crowd. "We share this land," he says, "and we can share its future." Star Raven follows her words, painting a vision of children from all peoples playing together. Even Iron Elk, though wary, stands guard his presence, a show of strength. A few settlers nod, their faces softening, but others smirk, their hands close to their weapons. Black Fox moves among the tribes, his eyes darting. He signals the settlers, a subtle gesture that goes unnoticed. As the talks deepen, a sudden shout breaks the calm. Arrows fly from the trioas, and settler soldiers charge their guns. Blazing. Chaos erupts. Warriors fall, their blood soaking the earth. Swift Wind pulls Moonsong to safety, his heart racing. Iron Elk fights fiercely, cutting through the ambush, but the losses are heavy. Star Raven shields a wounded child, her voice steady despite the screams. The peace council collapses, a dream shattered in moments. In the aftermath, the alliance teeters on the edge. The tribes gather in a shadowed valley, their faces grim. Warriors point fingers, and Swift Wind bears the brunt. "You led us to this slaughter," a chief shouts. Swift Wind stands silent, guilt gnawing at him. He trusted too easily, and now his people pay the price. Iron. Elk's anger boils over, his fists clenched. "I'll hunt every settler who drew breath today," he vows, his voice a growl. His warriors cheer, but Star Raven steps forward, her eyes pleading. "Revenge will only burn us all," she says. "We must hold together, or we lose everything." Her words keep the alliance from splintering, but just barely. The truth of Black Fox's betrayal remains hidden, a wound festering in secret. Swift Wind doubts himself. Iron Elk battles his rage, and Star Raven fights to keep hope alive. The dream of unity hangs by a thread, and the shadow of betrayal grows darker. Can these chiefs overcome this betrayal and their own flaws to save their people, or will their vision of unity crumble into dust? The answer lies in the choices ahead and the strength they find within. The alliance hangs by a thread battered by betrayal and loss. The Peace Council lies in ruins, its hope drowned in blood. Swift wind, Iron Elk and Star Raven stand at the edge of despair. Their people divided, their dream of unity fading. Yet in this darkest hour, their true strength emerges. This is the moment where forgiveness meets courage and a new path is carved from the ashes. Let's walk with these chiefs as they face their greatest test and fight for a future worth believing in. In a quiet forest clearing, Swift Wind seeks answers. The weight of the ambush presses on him, each fallen warrior, a stone in his heart. He trusted too freely, and now his people suffer. Moonsong, his sister, sits nearby, her eyes tracing the stars. The traitor is close, she whispers, her voice heavy with sorrow. Swift Wind's gaze falls on Black Fox, the Lenape warrior who's been by his side since the alliance began. Black Fox's laugh is too quick, his eyes avoiding Swift Wind's. Doubt gnaws at the young chief, but he must know the truth. He follows Black Fox at dawn through mist-covered trails to a hidden grove. There, Black Fox meets a settler, his voice low, promising tribal secrets for gold. Swift Wind's blood runs cold. He steps from the shadows, his spear raised. Betrayal cutting deeper than any blade, Black Fox freezes, his face crumpling. I had no choice, he chokes out. They threatened my wife, my son. I thought I could save them. Tears streak his dust-covered cheeks, and Swift Wind's anger wavers. He sees not a monster, but a man broken by fear. The urge to strike surges, but Moonsong's words echo. Unity, not vengeance. Swift Wind lowers his spear, his voice steady but soft. Our strength is not in vengeance, but in rebuilding what was broken. He offers Black Fox a chance to make amends, to warn the tribes of the settlers' plans. Black Fox nods, shame heavy in his eyes, and vows to fight for the alliance. Swift Wind's forgiveness is a spark lighting a path through the darkness, but the danger is far from over. On the Great Plains, Iron Elk prepares for war. The ambush has ignited his fury, and he rallies his Lakota warriors, their spears gleaming under a blood-red sunset. He dreams of crushing the settlers, of making them pay for every life lost. His heart pounds with the memory of his father's fall, urging him to charge. Scouts report a settler army marching, their numbers vast, their cannons glinting. Iron Elk leads his warriors to a narrow valley, ready to make a desperate stand. The battle begins at dawn, a clash of steel and cries. Iron Elk fights like a storm, his spear finding its mark, but the settlers' guns cut through his ranks. Blood soaks the earth and doubt creeps in. Can he win this fight? Star, Raven arrives, her Chiricahua Apache trailing behind their faces, grim but resolute. She finds Iron Elk amidst the chaos, his arm bloodied, his eyes wild. This path leads to death, she says, her voice cutting through the din. Fight with wisdom, not rage. Iron Elk bristles, his pride wounded. They deserve no mercy, he snaps. But Star Raven kneels, picking up a fallen arrow, its feathers stained red. Every life lost is a story ended, she says. Speak to them, show them. We are people, not shadows. Her words stir something in Iron Elk, a memory of the soldier he spared, a flicker of hope. He agrees to try, though his heart doubts. Star Raven leads him to a ridge where they raise a white cloth, signaling for talks. The settler commander, a grizzled man with tired eyes, steps forward, wary but listening. Star Raven speaks of the land's heartbeat, of children who could grow without fear. Iron Elk adds his voice, rough but honest. We fight for our homes as you do. Let's find a way to share this earth. The commander hesitates, then lowers his weapon, agreeing to a truce. The battle pauses, a fragile calm settling over the valley. The chiefs gather their people for a final council in a meadow where wildflowers sway under a twilight sky. The air is heavy with grief, but hope flickers like a distant star. Swift Wind steps forward, his voice carrying over the crowd. "We've lost much," he says, "but we've gained something stronger each other." He tells of Black Fox's redemption of forgiveness as a bridge to unity. Iron Elk speaks next, his usual, fire softened. "I thought strength was in my spear," he says, "but it's in the lives we save." Star. Raven closes her words, painting a vision. "This land can hold us all if we honor its heartbeat. Let tribes and settlers share its gifts, guided by respect for the earth." The crowd murmurs, some skeptical, others inspired. The chiefs propose a new way. Villages where resources are shared, where children learn each other's songs. It's a dream, not a promise, but it's enough to bind the tribes tighter. Black Fox stands among them, his head bowed, but his heart lighter, ready to rebuild trust. The council ends with a chant, voices rising to the stars, a pledge to hold fast to this fragile hope. The truce holds, but it's delicate, like a spider's web in the wind. Settlers and tribes meet in small councils, trading goods and stories, learning to see each other's faces. Not all agree. Some settlers plot, and some warriors sharpen their blades. The chiefs know peace is a seed, not a harvest, and it may not bloom in their time, yet they've planted it deep in the earth's heart. Swift Wind turns to storytelling, sitting by fires with wide-eyed children, passing down lessons of unity. His tales keep the alliance alive, a thread through generations. Iron Elk trains young warriors not to destroy, but to protect, teaching them to wield mercy as fiercely as a spear. His laughter, once rare, now echoes in the camps. Star Raven's teaching spread her words, inspiring a new generation to walk softly on the earth, to listen to its pulse. Her people carve star patterns into their homes, a reminder of her light. The tribes grow stronger not in numbers but in spirit, their voices woven into the land's song. This is not the end, but a beginning. The chiefs stand together one evening on a hill overlooking a quiet valley. The wind carries the scent of pine and promise. They know the road ahead is uncertain, but they've given their people something, enduring a vision of unity, compassion, and respect for the earth. Their legacy is not in battles won, but in hearts changed in stories that will outlive them. As the sun dips low, painting the sky gold, they turn to their people, ready to face whatever comes together. As dawn breaks, a soft golden light spills over a quiet valley. Swift Wind, Iron Elk, and Star Raven stand side by side on a gentle hill, their faces calm, but etched with the weight of their journey. The wind whispers through the grass, carrying the scent of earth and morning dew. Star Raven's voice rises steady and warm. "We fought not for glory, but for our children to know the stars. The earth remembers us even when men forget." Her words linger, a promise woven into the land itself. Swift Wind, Iron Elk, and Star Raven didn't win every battle. Their truce is fragile and shadows of conflict still loom, but they won something deeper, something that outlives swords and sorrow, a legacy of courage, compassion, and hope. Swift Wind's stories echo in the laughter of children, teaching them to stand together. Iron Elk's lessons shape warriors who protect with heart, not hatred. Star Raven's wisdom lives in every carved star, every step taken softly on the earth. Their fight was never just for land, but for a world where all people can share the earth's gifts. Their story asks us a simple question: what will we fight for? What legacy will we leave? Picture this: children from different tribes run through a meadow, their voices blending in a joyful song. A Lenape girl braids flowers with a Lakota boy, while a Chiricahua child chases them laughing under the wide sky. This is the seed they planted, a hope for a future where differences don't divide. It's not perfect, but it's enough to believe in. If this story touched you, subscribe to hear more about the unsung heroes of Native American history. Share in the comments. What does their wisdom mean to you? Let's keep their light alive together.